Dark Zero, Hype Train Conductor Dark Zero is here. I want to see some curses. What's up, Dark Zero? All right, Flooded Strand to start the match for Hank. Ancient Tomb for me. Chromox. Imprinting Hagra Mauling. Black card.
Are you familiar with this card?
I always ask people, are you familiar with this card? Because they are not. And then the next card is Curse of Leeches. So turn 1 Curse of Leeches here to start the match. Chili is here jamming emotes. It's like the 90s emojis came to life as playmats. Yes, exactly. And it is currently day in the game. All right, a Tundra for Hank. It becomes night. So I now have a 4/4 life linker. Is everybody following what's going on, or are there too many new cards for you boomers? Swords to Plowshares hits the Curse of Leeches and exiles it. Second Ancient Tomb. Curse of Misfortunes, the follow-up. Turn 2. Going to be hard to remove this Curse of Misfortune, so Hank is in trouble. Brainstorm. Volcanic Island. And a fetch for Hank. All right, a little oops there with the shuffling. All good. Brainstorm. Hank trying to find ways to win the game through a Curse of Misfortune on my side. And whatever nasty surprises I tutor for on my next upkeep. Could find a Teferi and counter magic. Try and dig out of this. See a Force of Negation found on top. Looks like that's what gets put into hand and passing the turn now. Becomes day. Trigger on the Curse of Misfortunes. And there's Overwhelming Splendor. So we're not going to see any Monastery Mentors get carried away currently. Fetches are turned off for Hank. Urza's Saga there for me. And tapping 4. Karn.
You have to land it.
Force of Negation pitching Snapcaster on Karn. Karn is a threat that could find Lattice and lock Hank completely out of the game. Or as we saw in the previous match, find Liquid Metal Coating and start blowing up lands. Here's Narset. Narset can still be activated. Overwhelming Splendor allows mana or loyalty abilities. And a complete whiff on Narset.
Sorry. Trigger.
Trigger on Curse of Misfortune. Let's see what else we find here. Cruel Reality. Cruel Reality will then force Hank to sacrifice a creature or planeswalker every upkeep or lose 5 life. Another Urza Saga. One Urza Saga is on 1, one is on 2. Future, thanks for the follow. Welcome.
I'll take one. You have to sacrifice a creature or planeswalker. Unless you can't. You don't have a...
Okay, so pointing out to Hank, you can't just like pay 5 life and not have to sacrifice. You have to sacrifice a creature or planeswalker, or you lose 5 life as a penalty for not doing it. Okay. Expressive Iteration. Hank falling way behind. Trying to find possibly a Teferi, something that could dig out of the situation. Makes a land drop. His Brainstorm looks like a Pyroblast in hand, which could not be any more useless.
Step, greater construct. Upkeep trigger.
Creating a construct on end step. Upkeep trigger on Curse of Misfortunes. Find Curse of Death's Hold. All creatures cursed player controls get -1/-1. And it's currently day. Updating that.
I'll pay 2 life, make a construct before this one pops. This one goes to 2. Trigger. You can't set it. You can't activate it.
Okay, pointing out to Hank he cannot fetch with Overwhelming Splendor on the table.
So I have another contract. I just didn't grab the coping yet.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I did not. I was desperate.
Land per turn. Go to combat.
Protection.
Turn to the old construct, which is a 1, 2, 3, 4.
Attack with the 4/4 here. Get swords, which I'm totally fine with. Retrofitter Foundry now on the table, getting searched for by Saga.
Oh.
Yep.
Expressive Iteration for Hank, who is extremely cursed at this point. Correcting that it is currently night. I think we just realized I missed a Cruel Reality trigger there. I pointed it out and I was like, you know what? I think I missed it. It's fine. I'm not really worried about it at this point in the game. Although I did miss it there. Making a construct on end step becomes day. A lot to keep track of currently. Draw, skipping the Curse of Misfortunes trigger, nothing left in the deck. Making a construct. Sacrificing the Urza Saga to search. Finding a Chromox. Okay, it's actually night. I don't know.
Did you go to combat? Attack with 2 constructs. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 DRCs.
Ties, bolts, DRCs.
12, yeah.
I'm not even sure it's supposed to be day actually, but I don't know. Okay. So it still would be. I think I think I have it backwards right now. It's supposed to be night, not day. Does anybody even care?
Sense for the percentages are not getting any better. Like, yeah, you're going to lose if they have force.
Nobody's even bothering to correct it. Here's another Narset after the first one gets sacrificed to Cruel Reality. Narset activated. There's actually only one card in my entire deck that cares about day-night anyway, and it's Curse of Leeches, and it's exiled currently. So the day-night thing barely matters. All right. Hank scoops it up. I got game 1. Former Hype Train conductor Sonic says, I hate to point this out, but those are not MH2 constructs for Urza Saga. Unfortunately for you, Sonic, unfortunately for you, they are not, but they are still legal construct tokens for Urza Saga. And that's what's important. It's all about the legality. And the MH2 construct tokens don't have OG art. My entire personality related to Magic the Gathering is liking OG art, so there's that. Things to keep in mind. Tapped Hagra land. And Ponder, then a fetch land for Hank. It's a little bit slower game 2 start. There's a Saga.
Pass to you.
See a Meltdown in Hank's hand. That's a good card in the matchup. One that I'm afraid of. All right, double fetch for Hank.
I don't have to learn. I have 3 steps.
Yeah. I'm spending the 3 minutes.
Former Hype Train conductor Sonic says, honestly, I agree. I don't really like the borderless token look. What's it like to be a former Hype Train conductor? Like, how does that feel? What is that like? Here's Blood Moon, which is pretty good. Turns both of my lands into mountains. The Saga dies. Hank with a game plan here. All right, I found a swamp and I'm passing. Sonic says best $10 I've ever spent to be a former Hype Train conductor. Wow. That's really exciting to hear. Brainstorm for Hank. Putting 2 back on top. There's his Ancient Tomb, which is just a mountain. Plague Engineer.
I'll name Monk.
All right, naming Monk with Plague Engineer. And passing the turn. We see double force, meltdown. No removal spells in hand currently for Hank, it looks like. Here's a ponder. Maybe trying to find one. Looks like a swords was found. Wired Hyena says smart not naming human. Yeah, I think human would be incorrect. The correct name here would be monk. We saw in the previous round how problematic Monastery Mentor could be unchecked. Against any deck, really. Source of Plowshares on Plague Engineer removes it as it attacks Urborg, which is just a mountain.
This overrides this currently.
And I think I got that right. Blood Moon overrides Urborg currently. Here's Karn.
Something like that. Guess this.
Karn on the stack.
That's fun.
We know Hank has forces. Doesn't currently have a way to attack Karn or remove it afterwards. I don't think this is resolving, but we'll find out.
That's a basic island. Smart move.
Hank does have a meltdown. Maybe thinking about letting it resolve and blowing up whatever I find?
That's true too.
I think that was what made you try.
I have.
You don't know if it has a burst, but
I'm sorry, you're in the middle.
All right. Force of Will, pitching Brainstorm. And Karn will be countered. Then I'm passing the turn.
Yes. I am not going to.
Takanuma comes down. Again, it's just a mountain. Curse of Misfortunes targeting Hank.
Now you get the
Force pitching a card that I did not get to see. But it was blue.
He's touching a paint.
say again.
Touching a paint.
That's true.
Can't tie that, and he's like, I'll play the paint of my paint. Okay.
Yeah, no.
Killed the table.
That's true. Yeah.
So now I think Hank's hand is Meltdown and something else. Karn will resolve.
Quandary.
I actually had it in discount. I had it.
Where's that now? Two?
I'm gonna have the I would have just had the cycle.
It doesn't have conversion manifest for or graphic.
Thank you for sitting through that.
But pretty good. But I didn't cast.
Thinking about this Karn minus. Potentially. Finding liquid metal coating, that'll make next turn interesting. And Karn is at 3.
And you turn on your mom? You're good.
Curse you.
Drew the curse and opted to play that over liquid metal coating. Plusing Karn. Wired Hyena says his arms are just how he force a will something, dude just flexes. Yes. Hank is quite strong.
It requires a lot of like planning for me. Like the whole thing I like stack.
But I just wanted to make it
I usually
Trigger on Curse of Misfortunes on upkeep. And here's Overwhelming Splendor, which Hank is thrilled about. Chartwin, thank you for the resub. 25 months for Chartwin. Hello, Chartwin. All right, looks like a 6 land drop, which will make Lattice a possibility next turn. I'm going to start attacking the blue mana first.
Oh, I'm sorry. It actually would live. It's a 1/1. I fucked up.
Okay, so now we're okay. So the overwhelming splendor is on the board, and if we have any judges in the chat or in the comments, let us know what happens here. I turned it into an artifact and then targeted it with Karn, and then we came to the agreement. We probably should have called a judge, but whatever. We came to the agreement that it was actually just a 1/1 from Splendor. But thinking about it now, isn't the Karn overriding the Splendor and turning it into a 0/0? Does anybody know? Does anybody care? I don't know. Opposition agent getting flashed in to block. If Splendor becomes an artifact creature, it would be a 8/8 creature. Now, we're talking about the island that I targeted with liquid metal coating, and then I plus Karn targeting it. All right, Meltdown here blowing up the liquid metal coating. Normally, the island would have died, being a 0/0 with no abilities. With no other artifacts, sorry. Yeah. Both Karn and Splendor apply at the same layer, both setting its power toughness to a set number. We then apply them in timestamp order. So it would have been, I think it would have just died after Karn targeted it. And we might have done that wrong. But we were just uninterested in calling a judge. We just went forward. It's fine. All right. So Lattice got countered by force pitching Brainstorm, it looked like. And now opposition agent attacks, and that gets the scoop from Hank. GG's, Hank.